and kept falling and kept falling. Well, I'm from Eglin Air Force Base. I'm used to seeing things fall out of the sky. So they continued to fall at the point where we finally pulled over. This was, about 45 seconds worth to a minute, where you're finally going, wait a minute, this is something strange. Getting brighter and brighter. 3 cars ahead, our car, 1 car behind us, all pulled off the road, looking up at this object, these 3 objects. Right as they got on the horizon, they couldn't have been more than 500 feet above the water. 3 separate directions, just as if within a blink of an eye. 1 went north, 1 went south, 1 went west.
Wow.
Out of sight. We're talking, we watched them fall for close to 1 minute, then totally out of sight in 3 different directions. A little odd gravity pull for meteors, I thought. But as my father would say, he's not allowed to divulge anything he says can or will be held against him. So I'm kind of wanting to know what Ron and Daryl, if they'd heard many sightings down by the Cape area. I know over in the Panhandle, I'm really from Destin, so I'm real familiar with the
Sure.
Well, I would imagine
area. This was just on the news again. The good old flare situation.
Sure. I would imagine. Thank you. That anything that would be near the Cape would be very carefully observed, wouldn't it, folks?
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we keep a good eye on that. But I haven't had an opportunity. My records end at 1992, and I'd have to have a better date than sometime in 85.
Sure.
I believe it was 1985 she mentioned. Is that right, Terry?
I have very nearly given up on taking individual sighting reports. I really prefer not to do that because more Americans than not have seen something, and it's anecdotal.
Well, the problem I have, and this is to give you an idea of the complexity of my research, is that you've seen the science fiction movies where they have the big reel-to-reel tape recorders that stand in 6-foot-tall consoles. And,
oh, yes.
Okay, we have those. Those are real. And each one of those tapes takes 15 minutes of data, and that's about a 7 to 8 inch stack of 11 by 14 printouts from our satellite readouts.
Wow.
Now, we cut the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes off the tape. It's overlapped with the next tape and the one before it to make sure we don't miss any data. So that means each tape has 5 minutes of data we look at.
Right.
And you figure out how many tapes we have in each day, and each one of those tapes resulting in a 7.5 to 8 inch stack of printout. Then you can get an idea of when we go back to reconstruct, if we didn't get a detection at the time, what we have to wade through, and that's waded through manually by analysts. So it's a big task. So we have to have, within maybe 10 minutes, if it's a real phenomenal event, to be able to go backtrack later on, and then that's assuming we save the tape.
How many times has our country gone to a significant level of alert that the American public is not aware of?
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
It's always after the fact.
In other words, we are never told about it. Of course, we know about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Right.
But I have a feeling there have been a lot of other times.
Oh, yeah. Most of the time we find out about it from other nations.
This is true.
Or 60 Minutes does a program on it 20 years after the fact.
Right.
Yep. All right, first-time caller line, you're on the air with Ronald Brigier, Daryl Sims, and Art Bell.
Yes, hello, Art.
Hi.
I'd like to ask your guest tonight if our spy satellites are that sophisticated, then why did it take them a couple of months to find a down aircraft a few months back? And if they have any comment on Stephen Greer's comment last night about the secret government or MJ-12's...
All right, we'll try and cover all of that if we can. There was an A-10 aircraft that went down. If our spy satellites are so damn good, how come they didn't find it?
Okay, first off, as I said before, we got 2 systems. We got the geosynchronous and the elliptical low Earth orbiters.
Correct.
If the low Earth orbiter isn't there, it's not going to see it. The geosynchronous orbit, it may not have had the signature. There's a lot of air traffic, and we just don't look at airplanes. They aren't targets of events or targets of interest. So
right.
There's no reason we would have looked at it after the fact, unless they could come up with some pretty good times. But there was no reason at that time to keep those tapes. So until we knew there was a problem, we wouldn't have been keeping the tapes, especially since it was continental United States, which doesn't pose a threat at all to most of us.
Well, Ron, you've been out of it for a while. Do you feel like you are conversant with the knowledge of what the state of the art is right now, or are you forced to sort of project?
I don't. I'm still in. I'm still there.
He's still in it.
Yeah, I'm still in it.
You're still in it, so you don't have to guess at all.
I don't have to guess at all. No.
He just can't tell you.
If I can't tell you, I'd say I couldn't. But
you have to guess.
But no, it's just there's so many aircraft. Just think of all the aircraft flying around. We don't want to try to track all those. The data would just overwhelm the system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a question for Ron.
Yeah. Okay.
Was this Warthog? Was this A-10? Was it armed?
As far as I know, it had. I think it was 2 500-pound bombs.
That's right.
Okay, that therefore is my question. I'm going to break my code of silence and confess all. If this thing had 2 500-pound bombs and was armed to the teeth and heading somewhere, and in my opinion was on a direct course to somewhere, mm-hmm. and probably just in my thinking, it was well watched and people did know where it was, and I don't know that your particular group had any knowledge of that. Probably didn't, but somebody did, and somebody was loose flying around around with these things. And the question is, why was he doing this? Why did he go out there, and why did it take him forever to do this?
Okay, let me add to that. At the point that he broke away from the group that he was flying with,
right,
without permission, surely that group reported that fact. That would have turned the spotlight on this aircraft, and they would have diverted whatever assets they had to begin looking at where it was going. Isn't that logical?
Certainly.
This is an intelligence problem, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They knew all along, and this was not to be reported. And the question where that craft went down, if anyone out there in the audience will watch and look at that situation carefully, and where it landed and why and the location, everything, you'll come up with a story that will, I assure you, be equal to something that the intelligence community has.
You know more about this than you can say.
But I could tell you, but I have to kill Ron. No. Or at least break his arm.
No,
there's more to this story than this does not need to be left alone. There was some very important reason that pilot did what he did and went to the place he went. And if you'll look at that situation carefully, you'll find that there's a lot of knowledge there. Some of the finest minds, believe it or not, don't work for the United States government. Some of the finest people out there are listening to your program, and they can themselves, with the same data, the same information, have access to all kinds of things and can come up with some pretty brilliant ideas. You don't have to work for the government and have a GS rating to be able to think. And a lot of these people can if they just have the data or know where to go get it.
Well, I'll tell you, we could do hours and hours and hours on this kind of thing.
Yes.
And but we can't, because, at least not this night, because it's coming to a close, the program that is. I want to thank both of you, and I want to have both of you back.
Wonderful. Glad to.
So for now, God, great service, guys. I hope neither one of you said anything that's going to get you even maimed.
Maybe they'll fix our phone service now. Well, could Ron plug his book one more time? It's a fabulous book. I've got it myself. It's a wonderful book.
Plug away.
Yeah, it's $20 plus $3 shipping and handling. Order it from Ron Regier, Research Investigations, 8855 Atlanta, box 114, Huntington Beach, California, 92646.
Good enough. Hope you sell a gazillion of them. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, that's it, folks. Boy, wasn't that interesting. All right, we'll do it again. For now, I'm sorry, we're out of time. If you get it, I'll see you Sunday on Dreamland. If not, Monday night, Tuesday morning. Good night.